Inside the network, executives were torn between panic and exhilaration. The ratings had spiked instantly. What should have been a PR disaster was turning into headline gold. News outlets picked it up within the hour. Trump explodes on live TV. Strahan stays cool under fire. And inside Trump's shocking exit. Every network wanted an angle. Every journalist wanted a quote. Meanwhile, reactions poured in from across the political spectrum. Trump's supporters rallied online, calling him a fighter who refuses media traps. They flooded comment sections with phrases like, "good for him," and "he doesn't take disrespect." Critics, on the other hand, accused him of being thin-skinned and unprofessional, saying his walkout proved he couldn't handle tough questions. The internet turned into a battleground. Debates, memes, and reaction videos everywhere. Michael Strahan, for his part, handled the aftermath with grace. He posted a short message hours later. "Live TV is unpredictable. My respect to everyone watching." It was calm, professional, but between the lines, people could feel his frustration. In private, sources close to the show revealed Strahan was stunned, but not surprised. They said he knew the interview might get tense, but never imagined it would end in a walkout. By evening, talk shows, podcasts, and political analysts were dissecting every frame. Some called it a calculated move by Trump to dominate headlines again. Others insisted it was genuine anger, a rare, unscripted moment from one of the most media-trained figures in modern history. Whatever the truth, one thing was clear. The moment Trump left that stage, he didn't just walk out of an interview. He walked straight into another viral storm. And as the dust settled, both Trump and Strahan found themselves at the center of a media frenzy that was far from over. While viewers saw Trump's fiery walkout play out live, what happened after the cameras stopped rolling was even more intense. The moment the studio feed cut to black, staff rushed toward the stage. Assistants, publicists, and network executives all talking at once, their voices overlapping in a blur of confusion. Michael Strahan remained seated, staring at the empty chair where Trump had been just moments earlier. He exhaled deeply, muttering under his breath, "That just happened." In the hallway, Trump's team was already in motion. His communications director demanded that the network delete parts of the interview, threatening to pull future appearances if they didn't comply. A producer standing nearby later described the scene as chaos mixed with damage control. Trump, surrounded by aides, reportedly told one of them, "They set me up. That was a trap. I knew it." His voice carried down the corridor, loud enough for nearby crew members to hear. Back in the control room, the tension was electric. The director kept replaying the walkout footage on the monitor, whispering to a colleague, "This is going to explode online." Executives debated what to do next. Should they cut the segment from re-airing or lean into the viral storm already brewing? One senior producer finally said what everyone was thinking. "We can't hide it. It's live. The world's already seen it." Meanwhile, Strahan was escorted to his dressing room. He sat quietly for a few minutes, replaying the confrontation in his mind. Insiders say he felt torn. Part of him angry at how quickly things escalated, another part frustrated that what could have been an insightful interview had turned into a shouting match. A staffer brought him his phone. Messages were flooding in. Reporters, friends, even rival hosts, all asking the same thing. Was that real? Hours later, whispers started leaking to the press. One insider claimed Trump was furious at a question that hadn't been cleared beforehand. Another said producers intentionally left the segment unscripted to see what would happen. No one could confirm what was true, and maybe that was the point. The mystery added fuel to the fire. By nightfall, both camps had gone into full spin mode. Trump's team released a short statement calling the interview a setup and accusing the network of pushing false narratives. The show's producers, on the other hand, stood firm, saying the interview was fair, open, and unedited. Behind the scenes, tempers flared, contracts were reviewed, and PR teams worked overtime trying to control the narrative. But deep inside the network, everyone knew the truth. They'd just witnessed television lightning in a bottle. Whether it was good or bad didn't matter anymore. The world was talking about it. And as one producer quietly said while watching the viral clip rack up millions of views, "You can't script this kind of moment. It just happens." By the end of the day, one thing was undeniable. The walkout had become more than just a viral clip. It was a cultural flashpoint. What started as a morning interview had turned into the latest chapter in the long, complicated saga between Donald Trump and the media. Every major outlet was replaying the footage. Every commentator had an opinion, and every viewer seemed to take a side. Some saw a man standing up for himself against what he believed was unfair treatment. Others saw a leader unable to handle scrutiny. But either way, no one could look away. Behind closed doors, network executives celebrated record-breaking viewership, while Trump's team used the moment to rally his base, calling it proof of media bias. Strahan, ever the professional, returned to his show the next morning with calm dignity, simply saying, "We move forward." But even then, the clip played again. His expression, Trump's words, that unforgettable exit. The image had burned itself into public memory. Political analysts began drawing parallels to Trump's past confrontations, from his fiery debates to his legendary clashes with journalists. Yet this one felt different. It wasn't a rally or a courtroom. It was a casual studio set, a space meant for conversation, not confrontation. And that made the moment hit even harder. In the days that followed, polls, podcasts, and pundits all agreed on one thing. This wasn't just about one question or one interview. It was about something bigger, a reflection of a deeper divide between power and the press, image and truth, control and chaos. Trump's walkout didn't just dominate headlines. It reignited a national conversation about accountability, respect, and the fine line between confidence and conflict. As the cameras finally went dark and the buzz slowly faded, one question remained hanging in the air. Did Trump win the moment, or did he walk away from it? And perhaps that's what makes this story unforgettable. Because in the world of politics and television, the line between reality and performance is thinner than ever. One walkout, one glare, one sentence can change everything.
It was supposed to be just another calm morning on national television. Lights bright, camera steady, and millions of viewers tuned in for what promised to be a powerful conversation between former President Donald Trump and Michael Strahan. But within minutes, that calm shattered. The atmosphere in the studio shifted from friendly smiles to tense silence. Trump's tone hardened, Strahan's expression tightened, and the audience could feel something was about to break. Then it happened. A sudden outburst, words exchanged, and the unthinkable moment when Trump stood up, ready to walk off the set. Producers froze, unsure if they were witnessing a live meltdown or a calculated power move. Viewers at home had no idea that this interview, one meant to be about leadership and legacy, was about to turn into one of the most unforgettable moments in morning television history. Everything seemed under control until Michael Strahan leaned forward and asked the question, the one that would change the tone of the entire interview. His voice was calm but firm, eyes steady on Trump as he said, "Mr. Trump, some critics say your recent statements have gone too far. Do you regret any of them?" For a brief moment, there was silence. Trump blinked, then leaned back, his expression tightening. The air in the room grew heavier. You could almost hear the tension crackling between them. What was meant to be a straightforward question felt to Trump like a personal challenge. He shot back sharply, questioning Strahan's fairness and accusing the media of twisting his words. The exchange grew more heated with every sentence. Strahan tried to steer the conversation back, but Trump wasn't having it. That single question, delivered on live television, had just turned a routine interview into a confrontation that no one saw coming. The moment Strahan's question hit, the entire studio seemed to change. The polite tone that carried the interview up to this point evaporated in seconds. Trump leaned forward across the table, his eyes narrowing, voice rising. You know, Michael, I've done a lot of interviews, he said, his tone sharp, but this feels like an ambush. The audience shifted uncomfortably. Strahan, maintaining his composure, replied evenly, "It's not an ambush, Mr. Trump. It's a question millions of Americans want answered." That was the spark. Trump's hand came down on the desk with a firm thud, a sound that even the camera operators flinched. He accused the show of bias, saying it was just another setup by the mainstream media. Strahan didn't back down. He said, "We invited you here to speak freely, but that also means facing tough questions." Trump interrupted him mid-sentence. "Tough questions? No, unfair questions," he shot back, his voice booming through the studio. The tension was so thick, you could almost see it in the air. The control room scrambled, whispering in producers' headsets, "Stay on him, don't cut the feed." The director's hand hovered over the commercial cue, unsure whether to save the segment or let history unfold live. Then came the real turning point. Strahan tried to calm things down, saying, "Mr. Trump, let's not turn this into a shouting match." But Trump wasn't calming down. "You wanted a show, you got one," he fired back, gesturing toward the cameras. Gasps echoed from behind the set as the two men locked eyes, one trying to regain control, the other refusing to yield. For a full 15 seconds, neither spoke, just silence. Trump's breathing was heavy, Strahan's jaw was tight. The audience didn't move a muscle. And in that moment, it became clear. This wasn't just another TV argument. It was a clash of power, ego, and pride playing out in real time with millions watching. Finally, Trump pushed back his chair, the legs scraping loudly against the studio floor, a sound that cut through the silence like a blade. He stood up, adjusted his jacket, and said in a low, firm voice, "I don't need this." The cameras stayed fixed on him, capturing every step as he turned away. The confrontation wasn't just heated, it was explosive, and what came next would turn that explosion into a nationwide shockwave. The studio fell into stunned silence as Trump rose from his chair. Every camera, every spotlight, every eye in the room followed his movement. The scrape of his chair echoed louder than any word spoken. Michael Strahan leaned forward slightly, his hand half raised, as if to stop what everyone already knew was about to happen. "Mr. Trump," he said quickly, trying to diffuse the situation, "let's finish the conversation. We can talk this out." But Trump didn't even turn around. His voice, firm and clipped, cut through the air. "No, I'm done." The production crew froze. One cameraman whispered, "Is this really happening?" The floor manager motioned frantically to cut to commercial, but the director shook his head. "Keep rolling." The energy in the studio shifted from tension to disbelief. Trump adjusted his jacket, glanced at the audience, and started walking toward the stage exit. Every step seemed to carry more weight than the last. Michael Strahan, still seated, tried to maintain professionalism. He forced a faint smile for the camera, saying, "Well, that was unexpected." The crowd gave off a few nervous laughs, but it didn't ease the awkwardness. Behind the scenes, producers scrambled someone into Strahan's earpiece. "We're live, fill the time." But Strahan could only sit there for a moment, watching as the studio doors closed behind Trump. Outside, Trump's entourage rushed to meet him. One aide whispered to him, "Sir, the cameras are still rolling." Trump turned slightly toward them and said coldly, "Good, let them roll." Inside, the studio was in shock. Some staffers stood frozen, others huddled, whispering about what had just unfolded. For just a few seconds, no one knew if the interview was over or if the chaos had just begun. As the control room finally cut to a commercial break, the live feed faded out, but not before millions of viewers saw Trump leaving the set in real time. Within minutes, social media exploded. Clips of the moment flooded the internet. Someone from the audience had recorded it on their phone and uploaded it online before the show had even ended. By the time the network resumed broadcasting, hashtags like Trump walks out, Strahan showdown, and morning TV meltdown were already trending across X, TikTok, and YouTube. Millions of viewers replayed the clip over and over, analyzing every glare, every pause, every word. Inside the network, executives were torn between panic and exhilaration. The ratings had spiked instantly. What should have been a PR disaster was turning into headline gold. News outlets picked it up within the hour. Trump explodes on live TV, Strahan stays cool under fire, and inside Trump's shocking exit, every network wanted an angle, every journalist wanted a quote.